Fox 61 breaking news now.
Thank you for watching the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Annette Montgomery. Tonight we begin with breaking news. An 80-year-old woman was stabbed to death at an apartment complex yesterday. And tonight police tell us the suspect is her son. Fox 61's Tim Lateau joins us live from Waterbury with what we've learned about the investigation so far. Tim, what can you tell us?
And I spoke with police over the phone, and they say the son is accused of stabbing his 80-year-old mother in her bed. The man is now facing murder and drug charges. Now, police say yesterday afternoon they arrived here at 25 Abbott Terrace for what they thought was a call for a medical assist. Instead, they found 80-year-old Analycia Sepulveda in her bed with multiple stab wounds. She wasn't responsive and was later pronounced dead. Police say her 48-year-old son, Noel Sepulveda, was found on the floor and appeared to be under the influence of narcotic drugs. Noel Sepulveda was given medical attention and later arrested. He was being held on a $2.5 million bond. Police currently aren't on scene, but I've seen them patrolling the area in small groups. The apartment building is called Grace House, which receives HUD funding for low-income housing. If you know anything about this case, police say they are still looking for more information and will continue to investigate over the weekend. They say to expect an update sometime Monday morning. For now, live in Waterbury, Tim Lateau, Fox 61.
Thank you so much, Tim. And tonight over in East Hartford, police there are investigating a different stabbing. It comes after an Uber driver told police he stabbed one of his passengers in self-defense earlier this morning. Tonight, he's now facing charges. Hurton Joseph is charged with assault and tampering with evidence. Police say that stabbing happened near Prestige Park and School Street in East Hartford. We're told the victim was hospitalized with serious wounds to his upper chest and back. Investigators have not released many details, including what led up to that stabbing. Well, a man with severe burns was flown from Brooklyn, Connecticut to a Rhode Island hospital today. Firefighters were called to Cliff Street at 10:17 this morning. Right now, we are working to learn how he's doing and find out more about what happened. And take a look right now. We have a major update in a Fairfield murder case that claimed the life of a 15-year-old back in 2022. 4 years later, police say they finally made an arrest. They say the suspect was just 16 when he fired a gun in a crowded party. It happened at a banquet hall at the Calvin United Church of Christ. Fairfield police say that day, 15-year-old Zion Burton was shot one time in the chest. Police did not release the name of the teen arrested because of his age. However, they did say he has now been charged with murder, assault, and carrying a pistol without a permit.
It's our understanding that this person, because of the crime committed, will be charged as an adult. When that occurs is up to the judicial process. Every investigation has leads that continue to develop as the investigation goes. And since this date, we have not stopped investigating. So there's not one particular instance that occurred. It's an ongoing investigation, a very detailed, thorough investigation from that point until today in the arrest.
And at this time, police say they are not releasing whether or not the two teens knew each other. Well, switching gears to the weather. It's a beautiful day outside, and things are looking great through this weekend. So let's head over to meteorologist Sam Sampiri for a first check of the forecast. Sam, beautiful day out today.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. We got into the mid to upper 60s, and now we're down to 60 in Hartford, and we have mostly sunny skies. We have some high clouds now dimming that sun. Temperatures have dropped off a bit. It got up to 71 in Salisbury, down to 68, low 60s elsewhere across northwestern Connecticut. Connecticut River Valley down to 61 in Avon, 61 New Britain, and the coastline we're a little bit cooler, 51 in Madison. But look at Westbrook at 48. That's because of that sea breeze, that cool water temperature. Yeah, we can blame it on that this time of year with that wind out of the south. And screaming up the Connecticut River Valley, 15 to 20. There are some clouds. Front up to the north, we could get an isolated shower overnight. Temperatures down in the 40s. And then tomorrow, we start out with some early clouds. Otherwise, bright sun, blue skies, breezy, cool with high temperatures, 55 to 60. Chilly evening. There is elevated brush fire for tomorrow because look at the gusty winds. Now, it's not about the winds being that high. It's just about the dry conditions and the gusty winds. And again, temperatures averaging 55 to 60 with that northwest wind. Coming up, I'll detail your Sunday. We'll talk about first taste of summer next week. Annette?
Thank you, Sam. Well, Norwich police identified the woman who was killed in a head-on crash yesterday. Officials say a heavy-duty wrecker hit 66-year-old Maria Cardoza's car. They say this happened on West Thames Street around 8:15 a.m. Officers say the other driver was not hurt. Tonight, investigators are still trying to figure out what led up to that collision. And as of right now, no one has been charged. Take a look. State and local officials are now demanding ICE release 19-year-old Rahan, a Cheshire High School senior who was detained by agents earlier this week. And the 19-year-old was taken to a detention center in Plymouth, Massachusetts, where he's been held since Monday. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules is in Cheshire with what's next for Rahan.
Rahan's attorney says he and his family know this experience all too well. Less than a year ago, Rahan's father was also taken into ICE custody for 4 months before his eventual release.
There is no lawful basis for Rahan's detention. He must be released immediately.
Lauren Peterson, Rahan's immigration attorney, says the family entered the country legally in 2024.
They were approved to come here through humanitarian parole in 2024 due to direct threats to their family.
Attorney General William Tong says Rahan was leaving his home with his uncle Monday when he was arrested by ICE agents.
He's out there and 4 cars show up with federal agents who jump out. How terrifying and horrific that must have been and felt to him.
It's a situation the family has been through before. Rahan's father, Zia, worked as an interpreter for U.S. forces during the war in Afghanistan. And last July, Zia was arrested by ICE during a routine visit to a federal immigration office. Attorney General Tong says what this family has gone through in such a short amount of time is heartbreaking.
Zia did an incredible service to our country by being an interpreter when they do everything right by the book. When they're here legally, being a nation of laws means that law enforcement does right by them. That's the deal.
Zia was released in October on humanitarian parole. Just months later, Rahan faces a similar fate. Governor Ned Lamont says Rahan is described as a dedicated student with a bright future ahead.
He loves science. Wants to be a cardiologist.
Rebecca Graham McCall from Bristol says learning of this story is gut-wrenching.
You know, I continue to hear stories like this, and it causes a lot of anger because a lot of these kids are vulnerable already.
Peterson assured the family that they will never give up their fight for his release.
For his family, who is going to watch this later as a recording in the safety of their home where they're sheltering, we're going to get your son home to you.
Rahan's attorney has since filed a habeas corpus petition in federal court demanding his immediate release from ICE detention. In Cheshire, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
Vice President J.D. Vance is facing a heavy lift as he heads to Pakistan to meet with the Iranians. Now, this is video of him departing Joint Base Andrews in Maryland for Pakistan earlier today. Right now, there are questions if the talks will happen as Iran makes new demands and President Trump grows increasingly frustrated by the lack of oil tankers making it through the Strait of Hormuz. Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington.
Vice President J.D. Vance is on his way to Pakistan, but now one of the lead negotiators for Iran says peace talks won't begin until there's a ceasefire in Lebanon and Iranian assets are unfrozen.
This is what the Iranians do. I mean, they are masters at obfuscation and delaying negotiations.
Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire, and Israel continues to target Hezbollah targets there, a prominent Iran proxy group.
We really need, in this case, Sue, is Israel to stay on the sidelines, stay out of Lebanon.
The longer peace talks drag on, the longer the Iranians have control over the Strait of Hormuz and all the oil that typically flows through it. The strait was supposed to reopen during the ceasefire, but Iran's army still determines which ships can pass and is demanding fees. President Trump says the Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they are alive today is to negotiate.
Donald Trump handed the Iranian regime and the IRGC a $100 million a day toll booth.
The shock in gas prices pushed U.S. inflation to 3.3% in March, but the White House insists prices will go down when the war ends.
Some truckers are just deciding to not work and taking some time off, and the ones that are working are gouging.
President Trump reportedly wants concrete commitments from NATO countries within days that they will help to secure the strait as he threatens to leave the alliance. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox 61.
Good news tonight. Connecticut is receiving money aimed at getting more local food to families in need. And it's coming at a critical time as farmers face rising costs and unpredictable weather. Fox 61's Priscilla Meza takes a closer look.
Walk through any greenhouse and you'll see the end result. But what you don't see is how much it's costing farmers just to get there. A new round of state funding is aimed at helping get locally grown food into the hands of families who need it most. But farmers say while it's a step in the right direction, it may only go so far.
It's a great way to channel state dollars right into the local economy and support dairy farmers and vegetable growers, orchards.
The program gives farmers another way to sell their crops and, more importantly, time to plan ahead.
By having the notice out there early in March or early April, it's giving farmers an opportunity to plan for that, so they can, figure that's going to be another option for marketing their crop.
But that comes as farmers across Connecticut are dealing with a perfect storm of challenges, from extreme weather.
We've struggled with some droughts. We've struggled with a couple of serious hailstorms that caused a lot of damage. So we're all the farmers are crossing their fingers that we'll have adequate rainfall, but not too much, and lots of sunshine.
To skyrocketing costs.
The cost of diesel, which farmers use to operate their trucks and tractors and machinery, is primarily diesel, and that's like doubled. Farmers are seeing fertilizer costs doubling over what they paid last year.
And labor shortages. They say all of it is driving up expenses even more.
We're one of the highest, labor cost states in the country. So if you can get labor, it is high.
All of it is adding pressure on farmers and potentially on your grocery bill.
I think we are going to see some increases in food costs, coming this summer and fall.
And while he says this funding helps in a multi-billion-dollar industry, he also says it's just a start.
It's not going to move the needle a lot, but it's certainly a step in the right direction, and we appreciate, the gesture by the governor to, make these funds available, and it's a win-win.
So while this funding helps plant the seed, farmers say it'll take a lot more to keep them and your food supply growing. In Woodstock, Priscilla Meza, Fox 61.